Business CEOs, are you in a rut? Are you trying to kind of find your way out of a rut? Or maybe you're just grinding along, trying to find that growth strategy? Today, I've got the video for you. In 4 simple steps, I'm gonna give you a simple strategy that you can put together to elevate your company and create some growth. I'll show you the 4 simple steps. I'm also gonna show you those 4 categories, but then I'll show you the ways to achieve the success. So we'll make this a really simple video, bite-sized. Any company can achieve this. It's mainly about focus and finding the key areas of growth and then measuring your success over time. And also, of course, getting the right people on the job. So I'll tell you exactly how to do that. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, my name is Luke Peters. I grew my company over the course of about 20 years, starting in a garage with no funding. And fortunately, I was able to make a mid 8-figure exit to private equity. So I've been in your shoes all the way along, from 0 employees to many, many employees. And from small to basically a global supply chain. So in this video, I'm gonna go into these details. So first, let's talk about the 4 simple steps. First, what do you start with is people. Of course, you've heard this a million times, but I think about it differently. If you really look at it, the big companies are always having to fight for talent. That's their number one resource, is actually talent. We're a small business. Usually your number one, resource or say differentiator is your product. People are gonna get you to the destination you're trying to get to, the best people, okay? So big companies, there's always a war for talent, but small companies, it's always sort of a war to save expenses. So you gotta kind of shift your thinking on that. You have to have the right people. You have to think of your team as like a sports club. If you're managing the Lakers or a football team or something like that, you would be all about people and talent. That would encompass your whole day. And that's what you have to think about with your company. Okay, so it starts with people. The next is product. A lot of times when companies get in a rut, they've developed a great product, they've found their path, they've hired their team, they've gone on their journey, and then they hit a plateau. You need to keep developing your product. Now, of course, everybody's developing the product, but I think of it in a different way. You need to have breakthrough product strategy every single year. So every single year you do your planning, what is going to be your at least one product breakthrough for that year? Okay, because a product breakthrough can be a game changer. That alone could actually accelerate your growth. So I'm giving you 4 categories because at least one of these will hit each year, right? You're not gonna be able to execute 100% on all of them. So these are but there are 4 different areas of your company. And product, you need to innovate every year. You have to be an innovative company. Otherwise, you're not gonna have innovative people and you're not gonna be able to hire the right people. So innovation is key. Okay, next is your market. Okay, there's 2 areas you can grow in the market. You can kind of, move into a new product category adjacent to your current products and sell into the same market, or you can try to go into new markets. Most of the time, everybody wants to go into new markets, and at least you got to do one or the other every year. That would be my ask here. Most people want to go into new markets, but I'll tell you that the US market is so big that unless you're just in a tiny locale, there's probably a lot deeper you can go just in the US market. But that is one area to look. Can you go into a new market? But probably the more inviting area is, can you get into an adjacent market? Okay, you have your product. Can you do a line extension adjacent and pick up more sales there? I haven't looked into their business model, but I'm started a new site I'm hosting on HubSpot. And back in the day, HubSpot was 100% CRM. It was all about CRM and content. Now they're doing hosting and a ton of other things that you can spend money with HubSpot. So that would probably be an example there. Every company ends up doing this, right? Because once you achieve a certain market cap, it's really hard to grow, and so you've got to go sideways sometimes. So that would be the 3rd. And then the 4th is brand and reputation. This is real simple, but how many people are doing it? How many companies have a process, standardized process, that successfully brings in third-party, legitimate, trustworthy, real reviews to your product? Every day you have that process. And at the same time, you have a process where you're working with influencers to get other people talking about your product. It doesn't have to be influencers, but you're creating third-party video content, okay? How many companies are doing that on an automated process? That's a huge one, because especially if you're a smaller business, trust is everything. Maybe you haven't built your brand. Obviously, there's way more to brand building, but I'm trying to give you guys, the real easy thing here. people, innovative products. Think about where you are in the market if you need to do a line extension, and then reviews and brand. So these 4 simple steps can literally transform your business, especially if you're a smaller business. If you're a $5-10 million business, literally just by doing these steps, you can get to 20, 30, $50 million, no problem, if you're able to execute. And of course, there's some magic to it. This is not, these can be very challenging depending on who your competitors are and what market you're in. Okay, so now let's talk about that execution. I told you guys I would give you that intel as well. So literally, I have 4 steps for execution as well. Okay, so define the key objectives in each of these categories. So think about OKRs. If you've never worked with OKR, it's objective, key result. You'll take a look at that in another video and learn what an OKR is. And you don't have to manage by OKR, but in this example, that's what I'll sort of explain. So objective is, I gotta improve my sales team, or I need to hire a new sales manager, or I need to really launch that product that we've been dreaming about. We know it's a game changer. We haven't dedicated resources. We need to launch it. Okay, there's your objective, right? So now you have to define what are your key results. So what are your next actions? Okay, if you're going to start this, list out your next actions. Where do you start tomorrow if you actually had to do that? It's not enough to just say, this is what we want to do. You need to list out and literally build a plan and a roadmap for each one of your objectives. So those are the key results. That's step 1. You have to go define your key results. So when you do this exercise, the most important thing that I sort of left out is you're starting with, you're searching for your objective. The most important thing is who's going to actually achieve it? Your team, not you. If you're going to achieve this objective, then you have to ask yourself, do you have a business, or are you like a one-person show here? And that's a challenge. Then you just have a really hard job until you have a team that can execute for you. So first, who's going to execute? Next, get them to buy in on the objective. Third, what is the key result? Have them put the key results together, not yourself, okay? So they need to come to you with the plan. Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Director of Sales, show me your plan on how we're going to do this line extension and get into this new category. They hopefully bought in on that objective, right? So then they're going to go through and show you the key results. Then, work with them. Okay, Mr. or Mrs. Director, come back with the dates of completion. So you're going to have specific dates of completion. And then finally, your job as the CEO is always, you have you have 2 main jobs. Okay, you have the vision, right? That's you. You have the vision and the dream, which is going to turn into your culture and all of those types of things. But the second one is you're in charge of execution. If there's a failure, it's on your shoulders, right? You're accountable for execution on your team. So your team bought in, they found the objective. They then wrote down the key results. Maybe let's say there's 4 key results per objective, let's just say, and each of those has a staggered time frame. And then what do? Simple. You just need to set up very structured, organized monthly meetings and hold your team accountable. That's right. That's the hardest part. You have to hold your team accountable. And you will find out over the course of the next year if you have the right team. If you need to go back up to objective number 1, which talks specifically about your team. Do you have the right team? If your team created the objective or they had buy-in, if your team created the key results, if your team created the dates, it's up to them to execute, and it's up to you to hold them accountable so that your company has good execution skills. Hope you enjoyed this. Literally, I think this could all be put on one page for each one of your reports. You could change your company tomorrow if you're not doing this. You could literally, I remember back a couple years ago, I did a similar thing, and literally I just started having, organized monthly meetings with my team. Some of those tailed off, so I had to kind of get them back going and get myself organized, but that was on me, not on them. But that was a game changer because it held everybody accountable, including myself. And the other thing is, everybody talks about, failures in companies. What's a key failure? They don't communicate enough. And honestly, there's a lot of truth to that, right? I mean, when you do something like this, there's great communication because you're so tightly attuned and communicating with your team on what's important. They're telling you what's important. You're all agreeing on it. Everybody knows what the objectives are and what the timelines are. And then they'll go back and they'll communicate with their team and their subordinates so that the rest of their team is in line. So you're going to create great communication and alignment with this. It's super simple. It's not complicated. You don't need any crazy software. So anyways, I hope this was helpful. If you want to learn more about what I do at Apex CEO, take a look at the link below. We're offering a free 20-minute business growth strategy session. During that session, I can have you fill out some interesting questionnaires. You can learn more about your style, your business, and what it takes to grow. You can find that right down there in the link below, apexceo.co. Hope you all enjoyed and got something out of this. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.